What up, guys? So today we got a question from Peter, who was a blue belt who was training for about 18 months. And then he had to take off for 7 months because of a shoulder surgery. Ended up having surgery, needed to take the time off, and he'd been back for a month. And he says at first he was just thrilled, happy to be rolling again, excited to be back on the mats. And but now it's getting more frustrating than anything. He says he's regained full range of motion in his shoulder, mostly pain-free. And overall, he says he's about 90% in that arm. Feels pretty darn good. There's still times where it feels weak, but overall pretty good. But he says, before the injury, I was working really hard on my open guard. My guard retention was getting better at it. I was starting to get really good. And then now people are just blasting past my guard. There's nothing I can do about it. And, from positions that I was originally comfortable in before. And so he sends me the message. He says, man, should I focus on trying to rebuild my skills as they were before, or start over fresh and try to learn new things like a white belt all over again? Cheers, Peter. So, brother, thank you for the question. So, dude, this is part of the ego battle that we talk about in jiu-jitsu. Again, we talk about leave your ego at the door, right? But a lot of times we only associate it with when it's the guy who comes in that just, is a jerk or is way too aggressive or thinks they should be good at it. We say, hey, leave your ego at the door. But the ego battle creeps up over and over and over again with us. Because when you think about what your ego is, right? The ego doesn't mean you're just an asshole, right? Everybody's got an ego. It's how you know who you are. It's the reason why you put food in your mouth instead of mine. It's a set of stories that we tell ourselves, right? That's what your ego is. Like if I ask you, Peter, who are you? You'll tell me this set of stories that sort of makes up who you are. The message you sent me was a set of stories about you being a blue belt, you training for this long, et cetera, et cetera. Well, those stories change, don't they? And we have to be able to change them periodically. Your story can't be set in stone. You have to be able to delete and add new stuff in because we're constantly changing. And that person that you were before, Peter, that blue belt that had been training for 18 months, or I don't know how long it was. I think it was 18 months, right? Been training for 18 months. You'd gotten better. You had built this guard retention game up. You were getting really good with your open guard. That person's gone. And you trying to hang on to all that stuff, that's like dragging around a dead body, right? Your dead carcass of a blue belt self that you were 7 months ago, 8 months ago. They're not there anymore. You've changed. You've become a different person. Sure, you're still Peter. You respond to the same mouth noises that you did before. A lot of the things are the same, but your physical body is very different. I think this is one of the coolest parts about jiu-jitsu is because people can become so disconnected from their bodies throughout their life. Like think about the star high school athlete who, has since acquired a beer belly and they're 45 years old and somehow they still think they're athletic, right? Like you're not athletic. You're disconnected from what your body actually is going on in your body. A lot of people are incredibly unhealthy. But they don't know they're unhealthy because they're never using the darn thing, right? It's like a car sitting in the garage, it's never getting driven. If you don't push your body to see what it can do, you don't realize how bad off you are. This is why you get so many people that come into jiu-jitsu who, again, they all of a sudden experience these feelings in their body and it gets them to say, maybe I should eat better. Maybe I should sleep more. Maybe I should lay off the booze. Maybe improve all these other aspects of their life because they're getting a feeling of here's what's actually going on in your body. It's just not numbers on a blood test. This is what this feels like. You have a feeling to associate it with. Very powerful. And for you are getting a feeling of the ego, right? Like you're getting a feeling of like, I've changed, and now you're having this schism because you have this story of your guard retention and your open guard and da-da-da-da-da being this way, but then you're having this experience of, hey, it's changed, and I don't like that. I now have this unpleasant story that I don't care for, and I have to change. And this happens over and over again in jiu-jitsu, bro. For me, right, as I got older, I was always this young guy for the most part. At one point I was a gym owner and a jiu-jitsu coach, and I'm in my 20s, right? Black belt. And I can run circles around everybody. When I was going to gyms, I could literally just train with everybody and I never had to take rounds off. I just had like this endless gas tank that never seemed to empty out as far as my cardio goes. And as I got older, it changed. And I didn't like the story, but I had to listen to it. And there were times where I would push myself through it a little bit too much and I would overdo it. And again, having to adjust to that, right? I've talked to several black belts who are very good competitors or very experienced, very very accomplished, and they have that same sort of ego issue where they were this person, they got a little older, and all of a sudden the young guys coming up are starting to be able to beat them or can outwork them with cardio, whatever it is, or even they can't train as hard as they used to, and they don't like the story. They don't like the fact that they can't do those things, and so things change. And so again, what I'm trying to get you to think about is your blue belt self that you were 7 months ago, Peter, they're gone. They are no more, no mas. You have become a different person, and you have to embrace that. And so going back to your question, you kind of answered it for yourself. The right mindset, I mean, I'll talk about the skills. They're going to come back fast, but the right mindset to take into this is just be a white belt all over again and stay that white belt forever. Don't put all these expectations on yourself. This is where people get in trouble. This is really what messes a lot of people up because, like, okay, you came in as a white belt. You expected to make mistakes, you expected to get beat, so forth, so on. But at some point, then you got your blue belt, and then you have this expectation of, oh, I'm supposed to be this good. Or, hey, my guard retention worked really well, and I was able to sweep so-and-so last week. Well, I should be able to do it every week. I should be able to do it when I come back from 7 months after surgery. Not taking into account their training, and you're not training, so there's going to be some issues there. We set those expectations, we get ourselves in trouble. Versus you go in and again, you can have expectations as far as the effort that you put into something, but as far as the outcome goes, who knows, man? And so again, you want to have that white belt mindset every time you get in the gym. And keep it forever, right? Don't lose it, because as black belts, you see this sometimes too, where you get black belts who don't want to compete, they don't want to train, they don't want to roll with people because they don't want to look bad. I'm not saying that's always the case, but I've seen it. I know of it happening. I've heard it audibly told to me in one way or the other that was the reasoning, versus saying, who cares? Just a belt? This is a silly, arbitrary expectation I put on myself. Who says I can't be a coach and get submitted by my students sometimes? I'm working on stuff, right? Yesterday when I was training, the guys kind of know sometimes when I'm working on stuff, but I was feeling a little just sluggish, a little tired from this jiu-jitsu camp I just had last weekend where, I'm busy all weekend. I didn't get my normal rest days, but I wanted to move around a little bit. So I was rolling with one of my guys, and I'm playing very defensive jiu-jitsu. And he caught me a couple times. Not angry about it. I don't care, right? This is going to happen sometimes. I'll have good days and bad days. It's part of the process. And so again, with you, blue belt, Peter, dead carcass, let it go. Become the white belt all over again. And then when you get your purple belt, brown belt, black belt, stay the white belt. Keep that mindset. Have a short memory of everything. Be able to take on those unpleasant stories and just accept them for what they are. They're just feedback. The last little thing that I'm saying, because again, that's the mental side of it. You need the mental side because that's what's going to get you back on the mat and be able to just say, literally walk on the mat and accept the fact that you're going to get smashed today and just be completely okay with it. All right. And that's what I would do. Okay, like when I come back from injuries and stuff like that, I expect to be beaten, expect to not be the old self that I was, because I'm not going to be. The other thing is that when you come back, what you'll find is everything comes back pretty quickly. It's not going to take as long to get those skills back into shape because those skills exist in your body still. The muscle memory is still there. It's just like, it's like here on my bookshelf. Maybe it's tucked under somewhere, and as you train, your body's like digging it out. Oh, hey, here it is. We found it, right? Or maybe you're looking through one of the books and you're trying to look for that page that had a particular quote you liked. Your body will find it, but you have to get it back into shape. And again, when you're training, those things come back. So just an idea to chew on, Peter. Good luck with your restart back in training, and I hope your shoulder holds up nicely, and I'll talk to you guys next time.